How's it going, guys and gals? This is Advanced Warrior here, and you hear the familiar music. Welcome back to another Advanced Wars Days of Ruin Tiny Wars replay commentary. Now, just like me on Advanced Wars by Web, I also decided to try to dip my toes in the ranked game mode of Tiny Wars. So let me just find the scene here. Alright, so the ranked Tiny Wars scene is a bit small, but there's still players out there for you to go up against, and obviously if there's many of you who are going to give Tiny Wars a try, it would really help out with the player pool. But I managed to get a ranked game here. This technically isn't my first ranked game. What happened was you start at, I believe it's 1200 is the default for both standard and fog. You get separate scores for each of the game modes, and I think I got 45 points, could be wrong, got 45 points for free on my very first game because my opponent never participated in the game, was booted out, and therefore it gave me a free win. But this is my first actual first rank game, and I hope I can learn something from this. Hopefully you guys can discuss what I could have done right or could have done wrong, but let's get to the COs. Okay, so my opponent is playing Waylon. Waylon has a CO zone size of 2, and his bonus is that all of his air units gain plus 20% offense and plus 30% defense. So he's kind of seen as the defensive air specialist. We have, I forgot her name, is Tasha, I think. Tasha, who is the air offensive specialist. She gets more attack than defense. But Waylon has a bigger CO zone, and defense is considered to be better than offense. So Waylon could maybe be seen between the better of the two. From my personal experience, I do find having air units a little troublesome. Trying to get some points or the bonuses. It's a little hard for me to try to get the bonuses out there, but for some players, I can see them making it work. It's just I'm unfortunately not at that level. All right, and his power is that all his air units gain plus 20% offense and plus 300% defense, which is insane. It does, I mean, obviously, plus 300 anything is good, but considering how much defense you get, it means that it's really hard to shoot down air units. Air units are already having trouble with anti-air units, such as, said, the anti-air. If a missile's out there, missile's not going to shoot down his units. Dusters and battlecopters, they could do some damage to, say, battlecopters and other dusters, but just anything attacking his air units is going to have some trouble, and they're very much likely going to stand. I haven't seen this happen yet. Maybe might happen in this game or not, but yeah, just plus 300 defense sounds hilariously fun, but it's very useful for air units considering how easily shot down they get. Alright, and so my opponent, not my opponent, so my CO, I was player 2, I am playing as Brenner. Brenner has a zone radius of 3, and all of his units gain a plus 10% offense and plus 30% defense. Oh, and by the way, I've said this many times already, but the default for the CO zone is plus 10% offense and defense for everyone. So technically, Brenner's just getting a plus 20% defense, but the CO unit, all the bonuses are just stacked together in this description. So plus 10% offense, plus 30% defense, which is the same defense as Kanbei from the Advanced Wars trilogy, I'm pretty sure. So that means that you will see his units stand pretty strong. They're not going to deal as much damage as Kanbei, but the fact that your units will just stay alive, and this giant zone radius of 3 is really good. I believe Brenner is one of the best COs in the Tiny Wars meta. Alright, and his power is that all of his units gain the CO buff, plus 10% offense, plus 30% defense, and they all heal for 3 HP. So on top of their defense, if they manage to survive, he can get that 3 HP. Not as crazy as Andy's hyper upgrade, but having plus 3 HP could help you with captures. It could maybe help you get better first strikes or turn fights around if both units are low. And this happens globally, so it's pretty insane when Brenner gets his power off. Yeah, there's no global damage in Days of Ruin. We have some in the Tiny Wars, but they're custom COs. But yeah, this plus 3 HP and 30% defense, your units will stand if your opponent doesn't have anything super strong to counter it. Alright, so the map here is called Spillover, and we have this sea lane here kind of cutting us off a little bit with like 3 separate bridge areas, each side basically having a base. Some hidden tiles in the center alongside the ruins here, and these radar towers give you a really nice view of what's close to you. There's also some in the corners. I like this map. You know, it's some mountains to split off the sides, the mountains and the sea. So yeah, 3 separate fronts. My strategy for this was to try to win 2 of the 3 fronts and just have a skeleton crew on the weak front. Yeah, and the reason I picked Brenner was because the map was a little bit closed off. Like, you know, have all these mountains here, all these ruins here. The forest and wastelands kind of hold back some of the vehicles, but I just thought Brenner's CO zone was just enough for to cover a good portion of the area. Especially if I'm trying to go all out on one front, then Brenner's CO zone is a good size. My opponent, I could see Waylon working as like a later game CO. Alright, so without further ado, let's begin. This scene's so good. Theme's so good. 2 bikes from my opponent, and I have my own bike trying to go for the base as soon as I can, and I also build my own bikes. Oh my god, I can't help this scene. This is so good. Alright, so very typical captures, capturing what as soon as you can. Oh, I also just noticed we each have a city already captured here. Oh, it's a nice little added boost, a little nice vision out here as well. Not a whole lot of information, but it's something. Alright, so with my free bike I go for the base, and I split off my bikes, one going for the top, one going for the left, and I just continue with the bikes. Sorry, I have to admire the theme, I'm sorry. Alright, and yeah, very, very normal. Nothing too exciting happening here. Oh, sorry, I clicked on something. But yeah, just capturing what cities I could. I go for the further city because I want to have some presence out here. And I use this one to go for the airport. That's just immediate value. With the forest, it cannot capture the city over here in one turn. Alright, my opponent having a little bit of presence in the middle-ish properties. Not going for the airport yet. And has 2 bikes out. So a lot of bikes here in the early game. Not too surprising. And here I go for a little bit of the middle as well. Capture city on the bottom. Finally get that airport. And I'm just following the capture chains. Probably going to get that city on the left, on the right. With that 1 bike that I just spawned, and I only had enough to build 2 bikes and an infantry. I kind of wish I realized that. I probably would have had a bike here, and have the infantry here in the middle. Because there's nothing to stop these bikes. Here we got the wasteland. You have to cross through the wasteland to get through. Alright, and here my opponent already captures the top right radar, or is already in the process of capturing it. And they already have both of the radars in their sight, which is not looking good for me. If he gets both of those, then he'll get sight of everything down there. And here I lose it on the bottom, but I should be able to interrupt it with this spike, which I do. There are no day-to-days in Days of Ruin, so it's just very vanilla for the time being. And I build my first tank, and the rest are just infantry. Alright, so Waylon's turn. Let's see what they do here. Just capturing, still trying to capture that bottom radar. Probably gonna lose that bike though. Alright, and yeah, instead of capturing that radar, it kills off my bike, but he's very likely going to get that radar on the top and builds a tank on his bottom base. Alright. And now, after I capture the one city in the center, I immediately go for the 2 center properties. As much as I would like to maybe capture this city, I felt like having both of these properties in the center grants me a really nice advantage. The cities do give you vision, +2 vision range, so I'll be able to see a little bit of it. I don't think I could see the forests or the ruins though, but just having both of these center properties gives me a little security to controlling the center. And when I control the center, I'll have it'll be easier to reinforce, and I have enough to build a bike, flare, and infantry after I load my base. After I load my CO on my tank. Remember, loading a CO does cost 50%. It's the same for both of us here. Boarding costs 50. Alright, and so you can kind of see my intended strong side is going to be the top, where it is where his nearest base is a bit further. And yeah, my opponent's kind of doing the same thing on the bottom side, and immediately builds a battlecopter. I think they might have base skipped for that. Oh, they did. I think they had enough to buy an infantry, but yeah, it's a very, very early battlecopter from my opponent. But they are Waylon after all. All right, so yeah, I'm just making the captures, and yeah, that boost on that boost on that tank really did help out a little bit. I'm pretty sure. All right, doesn't look like my opponent has the bottom radar according to my POV. Right now, it's just showing my POV. And I'll be able to get that bottom radar instead. Recon, tank, and infantry. Going back just a little bit. The flare. Yeah, I guess the flare, because there's like all these hidden tiles. The recon on the same side, though. Probably might have wanted to swap the infantry and the recon as well. But I guess I already was going to have vision on this radar anyways. But the center is a bit wide, so maybe I could have, a flare going one side and the recon going the other side. I don't clearly remember what I did, but I did make use of both of them. But yeah, look at my opponent's perspective. You can see the radars give you so much vision. 5 vision range, so yeah, it's you could see a lot of what's coming from your opponent. And something I just noticed, my opponent did not load his CO in the battlecopter. Instead is opting to build another battlecopter. Unsure where they put their CO in either battlecopter, but we'll just see. Tank coming down, getting a huge strike, and they built 2 mechs, and looks like they base skipped again. So about base skipping, sure, it's nice that you have a teched up unit a lot earlier, but base skipping hurts you a lot in the late game. When you base skip, you're losing unit count, and when you have less units to work with, your turns become a lot less dynamic, which is why a unit count is a good way of seeing who's winning a battle, because their turns, they'll be able to do a lot more with their turns, and when they get a lot more, they can get a lot more accomplished, and that could probably lead to better turns and probably the start of the downfall of the opponent. All right, so yeah, here I'm getting all these attacks in, And what this is doing is I'm getting the defense bonus, but it's also increasing. It's also giving my CO meter power. As you can see, my CO zone went up by 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's now up to 4 because I hit the first mark of the CO zone, which is 30. They increase by 1 for each 30 you get, which only goes up to 60. So you can see it go up twice. All right, so yeah. I might have made a mistake here. Did I make a mistake? Yeah, my mistake. I didn't use either of these to capture the radar, which would have given me income as well. As you could see, yeah, these radars do give you income of 1,000. But instead, I just ended up using them to get vision. Don't know why. Finally captured that bottom radar, which is good for me. Tried to capture that city, but turns out I am stopped. And yeah, I kind of pulled back in the middle, got a bunch of infantry on the bottom, and I build the medium tank on the bottom side, which medium tanks are only 12,000 in this game. So it was enough for me to get a bike and an infantry. I only saw one tank down there, and that one tank, it's not going to do much against a medium tank. Let's see here. My opponent going for the kills, trying to stop my units in. Moving the battlecopters out. Hasn't loaded the CO zone in yet. Alright, and yeah, they could see that I already have established presence in the center. Their radars couldn't catch it. And here we see double tank and the mech. Alright, the first tank is a bit far off, sadly. Alright, now here I'm trying to capture the radar, and everything is still in my CO zone, so yeah, I'm just like taking advantage of all things here. I finally remembered to capture my radar, and let me see what turn this is. This is turn 9, and I already have 53 points on my CO zone, so it's looking very likely that I will have my power outs if I get to 60 and use the power. I keep my medium tank on the bottom just out of range, and I build two anti-airs actually, because I don't know where that battlecopter is going to be going, so I just thought, okay, let's try to cover at least 2 of the fronts here. Alright, so I lose my radar on the bottom, and the medium and the tank. Ooh, the tank does attack this infantry, and this battlecopter is finishing it off, but the issue with this attack is the anti-air is just in range to one-shot that battlecopter, and this medium tank obviously can shoot down this regular tank and not worry about any possible battlecopters coming in. So a very aggressive move on my opponents, but obviously they couldn't have seen that I had an anti-air down there. Second battlecopter comes down. I probably will still go for the attack. They finally have their CO zone up top. I probably will still go for the attack because say I use this medium tank kills this tank using anti-air to kill off the battlecopter. This battlecopter can still attack the medium tank, but I have the immediate counterplay for it, which is that same anti-air. Alright, so I think it's turn 10, I think. But yeah, get the medium tank hit, and yeah, I'm just trying to deal as much damage as I could. I actually reached 60, and I'm sorry, and because so what I ended up doing was I attacked just a little bit to get some damage onto me, and then that's when I used my my power. But also mention that this also gives me the top radar just for healing. All right, so the medium tank, not my medium tank, my tank moves all the way up, and I actually messed up what I wanted to do. I had so many bikes, I wanted to get some captures in, but unfortunately what happened was I messed up, and I completely lost focus in the middle of using my super, which again felt very early. And yeah, I kind of sent this medium tank way too close up. So what I built, infantry, flare, battlecopter, and another infantry. Alright, and again, just the, unfortunately that bottom tank survives. But yeah, it's just, just kind of making a retreat. Battlecopter gets trapped in the center. And that other tank that my opponent has on the bottom is likely going to get hit by my tank if I do kill that bike in the bottom. Alright, 2 tanks and the mech for my opponent. Alright, and now yeah, I'm just capturing properties. And I kind of move my bike out of the way to get the better terrain. And I immediately go for one of my opponent's cities. And I kind of wall off my my CO tank. Have the anti-air nearby just for any possible copters coming in. Get a lot of attacks out on the bottom side. Recon's pulling back, and I just move my infantry up. Other bikes are moving up. Still have the flare. Probably could flare those 2 radars, but there's nothing there currently. Another medium tank on the bottom, and I have a flare moving down to scout out that little choke point on the very left where that 3 HP bike is. Alright, so that 1 HP tank is making their retreat, and the fresh tank comes up. The tank, it is in vision range of that city. That's something I completely forgot to acknowledge. Goes for the interrupt. I can see why. It gets trapped again. Battlecopter gets trapped again in the center. Looks like they built a mech mid-turn. Battlecopter. Just finishing off all my units on the bottom. So battlecopter, mech, another base skip. That 9 HP tank is likely not going to survive. Trying to capture my cities in the center, but not allowing that to happen. And yeah, just trying to capture what I can. I have these multiple captures out, almost kind of like in a funny way to force my opponent to respond to each of them, because that is a 3 HP infantry. Probably could let it go for a little bit, but killing it now, less to worry about. But it's only a 3 HP infantry. It's a distraction. And here I'm going for an aggressive capture on the radar, so I'm capturing 1, 2, 3, 4 properties currently, and I'm just making my opponent respond to them. Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna get them all, but I want my opponent to waste time trying to capture them. Interrupt the caps. All right, 2 bikes, tank, battlecopter for me, and the battlecopter is moving in. Finally, a CO tank at least for those battlecopters in range to get that nice little boost, and it does. Putting him at 17 in combination with the CO zone tank. Yeah, that attack almost does look a bit free for my opponent, but it does leave it occupied, and that infantry on the top is still alive because of the defense boost from my CO zone. And my opponent finally builds the war tank. The war tank is 16,000. Alright, so what happened was I completely forgot that I don't think I forgot. I just knew I had to do some damage to it. But this battlecopter here survives because it's in range of the CO zone tank. So that battlecopter was fortunate to survive. But I'm just throwing captures out there. I have control of the center. I'm holding on to the bottom. Get a really nice first strike from the city, my opponent's city actually. And I have the second medium tank to back it up. My CO tank just moves back to retreat to get a little bit of healing. And I'm pretty sure my CO zone also gives my my battlecopter the defense boost as well. Oh, that's my profile, I'm sorry. Yeah, all units in the CO zone. So, yeah, I'm getting a little bit of, everyone's getting the protection of Brenner. You know, what was the saying? As long as there's hope, we can't lose. I forgot. I haven't played Days of Ruin in a while, but Brenner's one of my favorite characters, and I build the anti-tank, because I had a suspicion. Surprisingly, I was right. I had suspicion that my opponent probably has another tank or maybe teched up for something. They built a rig on the top. I'm a bit surprised about that. They could probably build a temporary airport for all the air units that they have. I can see that working. Temporary airports do heal air units. But yeah, that medium tank moves really far back. Oh, I kind of see why, to try to like leave room to repair the other one. But that bike in the middle overextends. Probably gonna lose that bike. Still holding on to everything on the bottom. Do a little bit of scouting, and yeah, I try to capture my opponent's city again. Clear off that bike, and I go for the tank hit. The tank dies, and that means that that battlecopter isn't protected by the CO zone, but my battlecopter has the CO zone, and it gets a really, really nice first strike on that battlecopter, 2-9. That second battlecopter dies to my weakened anti-air, and I begin capturing that radar. I capture both of the radars, again, just forcing my opponent to do something about these captures. Pull the tank back to repair, and I go for another slow capture on one of the cities. And yeah, I continue that one on the top, wall off a little bit. Even though my tank is exposed on one side and is on the road, it has the defense boost. Yeah, it has the defense boost, so one-shotting it will be difficult. They kill this tank, maybe it'll expose two sides, but that's a tank with the CO zone boost as well, so it'd be very difficult. And I build a war tank. War tanks are very slow. I believe they have like only 4 move, I'm sorry. They only have 4 move. So I built it in the middle instead of the infantry in the middle because the war tank is going to move a lot slower, but it'll have some presence in the front line, hopefully. All right, so my opponent. Looking at my opponent's war tank, probably should have built it from the middle base. But yeah, here you see them trying to kill off my my CO tank, but it's just very difficult for it to. Alright, so my opponent again has the CO zone on the bottom for some reason. Where there's not many battlecopter presence. He has 2 on the top. And 1 coming way down there just to do some scouting, probably to block me, but that battlecopter probably isn't going to do well. So I finally capture one of my opponent's cities. And yeah, I'm just getting really good first strikes. Another CO power. Because of that, it boosts this bike to kill that copter. But another thing that I wanted to point out is that I have 7 HP on this 7 HP on this infantry. The city capture is at 10 points currently. Because I got +3 HP on that infantry, I'm going to get that city. And I also get this first strike on this battlecopter because I could just heal it back up. Brenner's, I believe it's called Lifeline in the Days of Ruin. Yeah, Brenner's CO zone, you really see the effectiveness of how it's able to help my army on the other side. It's not global damage, but it's still a global effect, and it's helping out my units on the other side of the map, on the other front, the very opposite front actually. And as you can see, it granted me a contested property, or at least a property a little bit on my opponent's side. I don't know really, but as you can see, I'm having control. I finally see that war tank coming out, and I have my CO tank coming in, probably to get more CO zone points. Alright, war tank coming in. Can't kill these defensive heavy bikes. Very, very unfortunate. And I am going to have a field day with that war tank. I am so sorry. Unfortunately, my anti-tank on the bottom is, the tanks are just barely out of range, but they are looking very strong on the bottom front, and they have a copter coming down, so kudos to my opponent for that. That tank healing in the back probably could have been somewhere else, like maybe the HQ. And yeah, I'm just here. I'm just capturing multiple properties. Captured my opponent's radar too. So yeah, I move my CO zone in. Boom, 6 damage to my opponent. Probably could have done a bit better. Maybe get that last kill with that bike somewhere. But yeah, 2 battlecopters and the medium tank. And I captured the radar. Yeah, this that war tank was sadly didn't get to see much. And yeah, let me just look at the stats real quickly. 25 buildings to 13. Only says 14 because they have a temporary airport up, but they still get 13,000. 32 units to 14. Yeah, it is already much over for my opponents. Shift a little bit of units down at the bottom. Have the anti-tank coming in if they want to attack anything. But yeah, looking a little better on my opponent's bottom side, but I have so many units up there. It's bound that I'm going to capture this radar and then like maybe push on the HQ, and I build a bomber. Yeah, because yeah, like I said, you know, all these tanks down here. What I have, medium tank and an anti-tank. The bomber is just going to come down a bit late, but it will be a surprise to my opponent. Unfortunately for me, I did have to base skip, but when I saw that I had like control of the top middle and I have one of the radars, yeah, it was pretty much clear that I won this game. Yeah, pretty much clear to me that I won this game. When I saw that temporary airport on the top, I was a bit surprised though. But they were Waylon, so it made a little bit of sense to me. All right, so yeah, down here getting those strikes on my medium tank, brought it down to 4 HP, and that healthy CO tank on the bottom was what attacked one of my units in front of this anti-tank, but they only had a 5 HP and a 6 HP tank. It's called an anti-tank for a reason. I think if we go scroll down here, the anti-tank does it doesn't really show. I'm sorry about that. Let's go click on a regular tank, shall we? Do I need a healthy tank for this? Screw it, I'll just do this. So the anti-tank does about 75 counterattack. Could be wrong. But yeah, those 2 tanks do not want to attack into that anti-tank. Capture all of the radars in the center, get really good attacks on the bottom, and I'm able to heavily damage this tank because the defense doesn't cover ground units. The defense only covers the air units. So that CO tank easily falls to mid of my units. Got the war tank in the middle. Got 2 battlecopters coming in. And yeah, I'm just clearing off those mechs. Have a flare close to my opponent's side, so I am able to possibly scout it out. And I completely surround that tank on the top, so another unit is going to have to kill one of my bikes just to break free. Yeah, I got that bomber coming down the bottom side. Yeah, a little bit of a front shift. Where I now have control of the middle and the bottom side, and I had enough to build medium tank, artillery, recon. You know, get some consistent vision on the bottom. Sure, the flare gives you a turn-by-turn vision, which is nice, and they build their CO zone from the HQ on a mech. That caught me by surprise almost. Units are just getting trapped. My medium tank dies, but it's just another tank that I can feed to my anti-tank. Alright, so player 2. Yeah, just kill off that tank, scout out, just do like really greedy captures. Helicopter comes in. I use the anti-air to kill off that tank, so I have a healthy bike to capture that city. Yeah, medium tank is like right in front of the HQ. Pretty sure that war tank's gonna come up soon. I have my my CO tank just in the middle, and a little late for my bomber, sadly. would have done a lot of damage if I held back just a little bit. Yeah, most of my units are in range of the CO zone on the bottom, so it's going to be very hard for my opponent to push through. They are completely blind, maybe that one city on the bottom left, but they are about to lose it. And I built a duster just to be safe, because my opponent's built a lot of battle copters. And turn 18, 7 units my opponent has to my 36. As for properties, 26 to 12, yeah. It's, I think it's well time for my opponent to resign. Pull the rig back. Trying to save that city. And couldn't save the city on the bottom. And the game has ended right there. So, I would say, a dominating performance from my end. Kind of, maybe given a little bit of a handicap because that free win that I got, which I didn't deserve because my opponent was just booted. But yeah, that was my first ranked game of Tiny Wars. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know my Tiny Wars content has been a bit slow, but I do want to, I hopefully in the future, I will have some plans. I am maybe trying to get back to multiple videos. I've been doing Advance Wars by Web like weekly since, and I just thought maybe I could maybe try to do some Tiny Wars content, find some good replays, hopefully bring CJ back. CJ is really fun to have. But yeah, I'm gonna play more ranked games of Tiny Wars. In fact, I think I'm in the middle of one now. Just selecting the COs. And yeah, Tiny Wars content, it's not dead to me. I still play the game, and I'm just trying my best to get as much content as I could out there. But thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Advanced Warrior. You all have my warmest regards. Please take care.